Honourable members, today's meeting is a crucial meeting for us, and it marks a juncture for South Africa's creative sector, our artists, our performers, cultural workers and creative entrepreneurs, the very custodians of our national identity and imagination, continue to confront significant challenges in sustaining their craft and livelihoods. The plight of creative practitioners, exacerbated by structural barriers, limited access to sustainable funding, and the lingering impact of the pandemic, demands our urgent and focused attention. Yes, I'm going to be a little bit progressive in this meeting. We also have the adjudication panel in this meeting that was invited and to be here in person. I'm not too sure who is chairing that meeting. I'm not too sure, is it Mr. Steve Mutale? But if you start introducing yourself, please also give us reasons why you are not in Parliament in person.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Steve Modale. I am the chairperson of the adjudication panel of Mge. Now, like you have requested, Chair, we only got the invitation to come to Parliament on Wednesday afternoon. Now, that was, yeah, we got the invitation. So there was a mishap between us and the department. Members of the panel were only informed on Wednesday that we have to be in Parliament on Friday, so we couldn't make it because of various commitments. As you might be aware, members of the panel have come from different backgrounds. We have business people, we have professionals, so it was a bit awkward for them. But an arrangement was made for us to appear virtually. Thank you very much.
The other members may follow. Adjudication members.
Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Chair.
You are too many in one room using two. I'm happy if you can remove the
other one. Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Simon Molefe Moloi. I'm the member of the panel. As explained by the chair, we only received the invitation on Wednesday, and that's why we have said we would have loved to come in person. However, with the respect to the portfolio committee and the request from the DG, we agreed to suspend certain things for a few hours to attend to the request of the portfolio committee. Thank you.
The members can proceed of the adjudication panel. How many are on the platform? 5. Steve. unmute. There's someone who is identified as UM. Are you part of the panel? Mr. Mutale, is there still members that have to introduce themselves?
Couldn't make it because they had prior arrangement with other commitments.
Yeah, you see, Mr. Mutale, this is a very important meeting. And we don't want to start with the wrong foot. And I know you very well. I was a young boy playing soccer in Alabama, and you were a journalist. And I admired you a lot. You were writing a lot of me. You at the time, and Mr. John Doe, when the former MP. I don't know whether you can recall me. And I really would have expected better from this adjudication panel to be present here, because serious decisions has been made by your committee where millions of rands are involved. As a result, we are sitting here, and I must tell you, the messages that I received was that they are waiting for the speaker. There was communication between the minister's office and the speaker, because this committee, and according to the allegations, was that this committee is overstepping and overreaching its oversight role. I have ignored all of those letters because we have a duty to South Africans in terms of our oversight to see whether processes was fair and whether accountability has been dealt with in an open opportunity for everyone. So I want to stress on behalf of the committee that we take complete exception to the fact of your thin delegation present on this platform. But be as it may, I trust that you, as the chairperson of this adjudication committee, will be in a position to give answers to South Africans today on why and the reasons we are sitting here today. With that said,
excuse me, Chair. Sorry, pardon me. I'm battling. I don't know how to raise my hand here. So pardon me for interrupting. Okay. Thanks, Chair. I remember you very, very well. As you indicated, me and you come a long way. But like I indicated, we are professionals, Chair. There's no way we can be informed on Wednesday afternoon that we have to be in Cape Town on Friday. I think, Chair, you have to direct your anger to the department, really, which is justified. It's not really our fault. We would have gladly presented ourselves to the committee. We understand the serious role that you play, the oversight role that you play. There's no way you could have ignored your invitation to come to Parliament. The issue is we were only informed on Wednesday afternoon. That is the issue.
I'm going to give the department an opportunity to respond to that, because, like I said, these meetings have been planned months before time. In this particular one was executed a month ago, the decision. The department.
No, thank you, Chairperson. The Chairperson of the Mge Adjudication Panel is correct. They were only invited by us on Wednesday. And in the letter, Chairperson, that we wrote to you, we did indicate as follows, that when the notice was received, the department made attempts to invite the members of the panel as per the Portfolio Committee's program. Arrangements for attendance were, however, not initiated, as the department was awaiting direction considering the communication by the Minister to the Portfolio Committee Chairperson and the Speaker of the National Assembly. After the meeting held on the 2nd of September, where the matter of the invitations by the committee were clarified or was clarified, the department attempted to contact members to finalize the travel arrangements for the meeting. Unfortunately, none of them were available to attend the meeting, considering that members of the panel are professionals and business people from different sectors, and they had already planned ahead for the week. However, members of the panel have indicated that they will be available to appear before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee any day in future on condition that the department informs them on time. I hope this explanation will be acceptable to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee. Chairperson, we did indicate in the letter written to you that against this background, we want to apologize for the inconvenience this has caused, and we remain committed to making arrangements. Basically, Chairperson, it was a call that we made based on the correspondence where we are awaiting direction and a way forward. And if we made a wrong call, we did apologize in the letter written to you, Chairperson.
Thank you. That solves every problem. Members, I'm not going to open it up for further debate. The department has apologized because they were uncertain about our role after so many years, but it's fine. Let's proceed.
Chair, I think through you, Chair, I don't know if I'm out of order or what, but I think since Mr. Mutale is saying there are only two, but I think it's important for us to know the whole list of the names of the panel, because for him to just say there are two, they are leaving us hanging. We must know who are the people involved in the adjudication of these projects. Thank you, Chair.
The information will come up from the presentation. The department.
Now, this slide, Chair, is the MGE adjudicators in terms of their names and also the brief profile in terms of what they do. As indicated, we have Mr. Steve Mutale, who is a chairperson. We have Miss Shabnam Peterson. We have Mr. Simon Muloi, Mr. David Kau, Mr. Vernon Vrachom, and Mr. Francisco Tejada.
May I request whether Mr. Mutale want to add something? If so, I would request you also to inform the committee on application pertaining to their geographical spread. Mr. Mutale.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of let me first deal with your request in terms of the geographical spread. The panel received applications from all 9 provinces of the country. However, the majority of these came from 2 provinces, Gauteng and KZN. You might be wondering, for instance, as to why the very, very low rate of approval. We encountered a lot of problems. We found that most of the applications, typically where there's money involved, there will be a lot of chance takers. So many of these people did not even read the guidelines. They just threw in their applications. However, there were genuine applications, real applications from real people in the creative sector. So most of the problems that we encountered that led to non-approvals was people were not following the basic criteria. For instance, they mentioned issues of workshops and training when the guidelines were clear that MGE is a job creation initiative. We also found instances where in the proposals, administrators were paying themselves astronomous amounts, and the most important people, the artists, were benefiting the least. And in terms of the budgets that were submitted, we found that these were not detailed. The budgets were not properly or broken down in detail. So also that led to the disqualification of many applications. And there was an issue also of most of the applications being a talent search initiative, when the guidelines were clear that there shouldn't be any talent search initiatives. And there was also the issue of workshops and, of course, no detailed breakdown of the budget. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mutale.
Thank you, Chair. What I wanted to submit was that, to add on what the Chair said, one of the decisions we also worked on was to create a leniency or a discretion where we work on the people with disabilities to make sure that their applications or what they submitted, we looked at it more in detail because of the challenges of making sure that we achieve or we advance the program in relation to people with disabilities. But I think the key thing in relation to our applications is that in the past, and that's what MGE, when you look at the decisions that were taken in relation to training and workshops, you have applicants who are not accredited to do training on anything. They are not CETA accredited, but they want to do training, and in that way, it becomes a ticking box issue that they receive money to train so many hundred young people, whether I certificate them or not. So we felt, as per the guideline, that this thing, as a project of job creation, it must be able to focus on job creation. Any other training should be referred to the CETA process, and that's why, as a panel, we have also said we will consolidate a recommendation to the department on issues that we think they must look at in the next process of applications, so that many creative industry or youth or people in the sector are able to participate or able to benefit in relation to the grant system created. Thank you, Chair.
I want to check with you in terms of this panel of adjudicators. I must get my question from the department. Deputy Director of MGE. Can you clarify me in terms of the panel? How many members are there? Yeah, I prefer one-on-one so that you don't dribble me along the way with your response.
Thank you, Honorable Member. There are 6. Mr. Muloi is part of the panel. I think the issue with him is that he's got 2 surnames, Mulefe and Muloi, but he has always been part of the panel from the beginning. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. This panel of 6 people who have taken decisions on behalf of a lot of millions, how was this panel constituted? For now, I'm just concentrating on you, worry less. Agree, you are the one who's leading the MG.
I'm a deputy director, yes,
Yes.
but I do have an acting chief director, the ADDG and the DG.
Now let me talk to you then.
Okay.
Okay, fine, let me speak to you. How was the panel constituted?
The panel is, according to the policy, this panel is appointed by the minister because it's an outside panel, external people from government, or from the department rather.
No, thank you very much. Deputy Minister, you are here. Welcome. Thank you very much. The minister is not here. Were you part of the appointment of the panel?
I'm not sure how to respond to your question.
Not a problem. If you are not sure on how to respond to my question, then Deputy Minister is not a problem. You see, that's the reason why I wanted the minister to form part of this meeting. It has been presented here that the panel was appointed by the minister. So the point of departure will then be understanding, amongst others, the terms of reference of the adjudication panel. How was the panel appointed? I'll give you a practical example. In the Department of Higher Education and Training, we are stuck with a situation where we were given an impression that there is an independent panel that was supposed to process the application that led to the appointment of board members of CETAs. We were told in the meeting that there is a panel. Fast forward 3 weeks, 6 weeks down the drain, none of the panel members is confirming that they were part of the panel. In fact, all of the members of the panel were rejecting the fact that they formed part of the process of appointing people. It is for that reason, Chairperson, firstly, I must reject the apology of the department in terms of the panel not being here. Must firstly reject the apology. Secondly, must equally reject, with the contempt it deserves, the apology of the panel. I'm not sure if the department must tell us, if they are the ones who have appointed these people, how is it that the panel is not here? That is one question that I wanted to raise, and I'm not sure how we're going to deal with these matters, because all of these things, it then says that the minister was supposed to be here, the panel was supposed to be here. Because for you to interrogate the work that has been done by the panel, you must firstly get clarity as to how were these people appointed. We don't even have their academic background here, Chairperson. We are just told that this person is a writer, this person is a renowned writer or filmmaker. We don't even have their academic background. So the person who was supposed to take us into confidence is the minister in terms of the process that he has followed. But now that the minister is not here, I would also propose that this meeting, amongst others, we can process these issues. But it will require us to have the minister and the panel being present in this meeting. Because it does not make sense to me, Chairperson, for the panel to engage with us via Zoom or whichever visual platform that they are using. It, to me, does not make sense. But let me maybe drive something home to prove to you that we are skating on thin ice here. I can continue with my process of asking questions if you allow me. But my argument here is that we should be sitting with the minister, we should be sitting with the panel in this room. So that when we begin to see clarity on some of these questions, we have been given the necessary response that we are going to get. I mean, already the deputy minister is giving us an impression that she was not part of the process. That's the impression that she's giving us, because she's saying that she's unable to respond to the question that I'm posing.
Yeah, Honorable Harbour, I would argue that the deputy minister must be in a position to respond to some of these things. It's the minister, it is the deputy minister. When the minister is not available, the deputy minister must respond. And if the deputy minister can't respond, the director is here. So there must be answers today. I mean, they work as a collective. They work all together. They must know what is transpired, and decisions are being taken on behalf of Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. So the whole of the contingent must be aware of that. Proceed, I stole some of your time.
No problem, Chair. In fact, probably if they can provide the answers, if you allow. We've got the Deputy Minister, DG, you are no longer acting, you are with us now. We've got the Director General, so if they can provide those answers in terms of how was the panel
Deputy Minister.
Thanks, Chair. I will request the DG to respond.
Okay, apologies for that. Yeah, as the Deputy Director, MGE, has indicated, the process of appointment of the panel was done through the Minister. And the identification of the people that then serve in the panel, the Minister looked widely across the kind of experience he would like to see in people that would be able to then adjudicate And from the 6 people that are in the panel currently, their competencies, as far as we know as a department, then cut across areas of music, performing arts, areas of books and publishing, etc. But basically, in terms of process, it's adjudication panel appointed by minister.
According to you, DG, did the minister handpick these people from the industry or even from the streets, or these people, panel members, were appointed through a transparent process where people within the industry are allowed to volunteer their services?
The nomination and the appointment of these people followed the handpicking. It wasn't a process that involved consultation with the industry.
Okay, no, thank you very much, DG. If I can check with Mr. Motale. I'm not sure if Mr. Motale is the one leading the panel. If I can check with Mr. Motale, did he get an appointment letter from the minister? And if so, when did he get that appointment letter? And what were the appointment letter directing him of his key responsibilities? The last part, whether there was any remuneration assigned to the work to be done by the chair.
Mr. Mutale.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Member. Yeah, all 6 panelists, we received letters of appointment from the department, and of course, there was remuneration for the services that we render. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. While we are still there, we'll request Mr. Motale to share that appointment letter with us. Maybe if I can check with Mr. Motale in terms of the process that he led as the chair of the adjudication. The first question that I wanted to check, what is their turnaround time for processing applications?
Thank you, Honorable Member. There was no specific turnaround time, but the job that we did, all in all, if I were to guess, it took us about 7 to 8 weeks. Thank you.
According to your letter of appointment, when were you expect to complete this task of adjudication?
The letter of appointment did not specify, was not specific as to when the job had to be completed.
Okay, let me go to your issues then. In terms of your process, how many meetings have you set so far as a panel?
We set for several weeks, like I indicated to you, but we were breaking down jobs per week. We would see on a weekly basis and then submit our reports online and regroup again. But I've indicated to you earlier that the process must have taken, the department can verify, it must have been a 7 to 8 week job.
Okay, I want to check with you in terms of your adjudication process. It is alleged that some of the preliminary outcome indicates that some of the companies that were appointed are either deregistered or are not part of the sector. Can you take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow leading up until the appointment of a successful applicant, not forgetting the due diligence of importance that you play in the process?
Okay. First of all, the vetting process was not done by the adjudication panel. The department receives applications and then they vet as to which ones are compliant. Only the compliant ones were presented to us. In terms of which one did not have a tax clearance and what, that was not our job. We were only presented with those that were compliant that we had to adjudicate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. DG, I think you captured the response, and the DG, the person of MGE. Can we get clarity in terms of my initial question? Take us through the process. I mean, the last part, the Ndademotale decided not to respond to it, but I'm going to repeat the question again. Let me start with this one. Take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow. From a point of receiving application, remember it has been indicated that you are the ones who are dealing with the vetting process. There are allegations that some of the companies that you have appointed, even though it's preliminary outcomes, some of these companies are deregistered, some of these companies are owned by foreign nationals. Just clarify the process and clarify the role players in the process.
Thank you. I will be speaking to specifically to the revised call, which was a manual process, because the initial one, the process is automated. It's on the e-services portal. In this case, the proposal were received in two ways. They were received through the drop-off at the drop-off.
No, don't do that to me and don't do that to yourself. I think it was explained in the report on different modalities.
Yeah.
Take us through the process of you, after you have received the applications, what process do you follow that will lead to a point of you presenting a list of people who are either compliant or non-compliant to the adjudication? The adjudication committee is claiming that you are the ones who are starting the process. They were not even involved in the vetting. That's what I'm saying. Don't tell me about the process that started in terms of receiving application. Take it from a point whereby after you have received the application, what is it that you are doing?
Oh, okay. I will start it from there. The applications that were received through email and through the boxes I captured to create a register of all applications received. And that is done by various officials in the department that assist to capture the applications. We create our IT internally assisted us to create a portal where everybody could capture these applications. During that capturing, the team the capturers look through the documentation. There's a list of documents that are published in the guidelines that are required. They were on page 8 of the guidelines that were provided to the committee. They checked just at the compliance at this stage. If you submitted all the required documents, that's where you have the two groups of compliant and non-compliance in terms of the documentation. Then those that are compliant then move to the panel. The panel will then focus mostly on the adjudication.
Before you go to the panel now, the panel says that they are not vetting, meaning that once you deal with the compliance, that's part of the process of vetting. Now, after you have done with the vetting, is there any person, you said that the team that you are having of capturers will then deal with the process of capturing at the same time checking whether the company is compliant or not. After they have checked that process, before they submit it to the adjudication panel, is there any process or is there any senior top management that oversees the process as to whether the junior officials have done it correctly and in line with the prescribed requirements?
Just to correct this, I had not said they verified companies at this stage. They're looking at the compliance documents. If you submitted all the documents you're supposed to submit as per requirement on page 8 of the guidelines. So I think I should monitor that. The panel, I would be the one as a deputy director, but within the whole process is overlooked by the acting chief director of cultural development. So those would be the junior manager and the senior manager in terms of this process at this time.
How do you do your vetting?
As indicated, Chair, as indicated, Honorable Member, on page 8, it lists the documents that are listed. So at this time, they checked, is there a proposal? They're not looking at the content of the proposal, but is there a proposal? Is there a tax compliance document as required? Is there a copy of ID that is certified as required? They look at all those issues that are listed on page 8. That you see, if there's no ID, then they noted that there's no ID that is supported. If there's no text, they say no, there's no text that was submitted. So the capturers, that's their role at this stage.
How do you verify compliance of a company is legitimacy? Do you log into the CIPC site or how do you verify it?
That stage comes later. So I don't know if we need to go through the stage or should we just jump to that end?
Yeah, I want that end in particular.
Okay, at that end, when the panel is done with adjudication, the list is...
Sorry, maybe I'm lost. Which panel are you referring to? The one that it says that it does not deal with the vetting.
Yes, I was saying once they've then sent their recommended projects, remember they've adjudicated now, then there's a list of recommended projects that have been recommended. Yes, then those projects, the ones that have been recommended, those are the ones that they were spoken of that the list was published. Those ones, then they then move to the next stage. This stage is also spoken to in the guidelines, where then before the contracting stages, then all those things that you are talking about are then verified. That's where then they look into issues of like other government workers. They go in the system on the DPSA to check if they're government workers. There's also the process of now verifying if all the directors are South African citizens as stated in the guidelines. So that process is then done at that stage because there is more resources available at that stage before while contracting, during the contracting stage or pre-contracting to ensure that all those matters are looked at.
Okay. Now, there are allegations of companies that are not compliant. I would like you to clarify that part in terms of what is your take. The second part that I want to check from you, now that you've got preliminary outcomes presented, what is your appeals process and what is its turnaround time?
Okay, in terms of the first part that you're speaking to, Chair, there are 3 deputy directors under MGE. So when it goes to the compliance, then the other deputy director begins to take up that role of the processing. There are more program managers. I am more on the side of the processes of through the applications, the advert. I'm assisting in that. There are other ones who can be.
Who are those 2 directors and why are they not here?
We all report to the ACD. So.
Who's the ACD?
Our chief.
Maybe we can check with the chief. Why are the 2 other directors not here? Our mama on Shavana Garanong. Was that something foreign, Yana? Or what? She's saying that she's not part of that critical process and those 2 people are not part of the meeting. And I'm asking what are the names of those 2 people and why are they not here?
Okay, the names of the 2 officials that also work in the same section of MGE, it's Mr. Dunisan Chabalala and Mr. Dumison Glow. I think it was an oversight on our side to bring them on board because we thought we would deal with it through Gia, the manager. Thank you.
The issue of the appeals process. You want to get into?
Yes, honorable member, I just want to add. If you look at the document that was attached to the presentation, the one I was referring to earlier on, because I just want to emphasize something. There is a process that happens upon receipt of the applications, which Ms. Alabi is talking about, where they will go through this whole list of the 5 things, are they there? So they are not looking, if there's a company registration certificate, I want to make an example, they would then add that lot into the applications that will go to the adjudicating panel. That company registration certificate doesn't go through a verification in terms of its authenticity at that particular time. So all those applications in terms of the numbers you saw in the presentation, there is somewhere where it said compliant ones, non-compliant. They would then all go to the education panel. The education panel adjudicates the business plan or the proposal. They don't look at the company registration, etc. The 154, I think it was about the 154, that they then recommended to the department to say, these are the people that meet the conditions in terms of what they were adjudicating about, in terms of the proposal itself. That will then come back. When it comes back, I'm referring to the 154, when those actually come back to us to say, these are the ones that are recommended, the teams are divided. there are people that deal with touring ventures. There are those that deal with the different categories under the CCIP program. They will then take over those. They are the ones that will then go into detail in terms of those 154 applications as recommended by the adjudicating panel. When they do that process, they would then go into checking. That is why in the report, Chair, that was presented by Mr. Tanyani, you found that there's a section there that was saying there were some that were either withdrawn or found to be not meeting the requirements in terms of the status of the company, etc. I think there's about 7 there. So that is how you will then find that there are those that are recommended by the adjudication panel, but the number reduces later on when we want to sign the MOA with a specific person. We did not bring the others, Chair, the other project manager, because I think it was a call that we made in terms of these particular people that will hear will then respond to the others that they are referring to are at a level below the chief director, as she has indicated. And I think between us, we should be able to then handle the questions. If not, we will then respond in writing afterwards.
I want to, before Chair, I had my time is over.
Correct.
Just the last one. I want to get clarity from. Are you saying that what the adjudication is saying is true, that they did not deal with the finalization of the process, including the verification of the legitimacy of those companies, but rather it is the department who has concluded that process? In fact, we are dealing with 2 separate processes here. There is an internal process run by the department which finalizes things, and there is the initial or the first panel that deals with verification as to whether people have submitted. Then there is an internal process that the department deals with, and that process is the one that leads to the appointment of a successful applicant. Do I get you correctly?
In a sense, can I put it in my own ways, honorable member? There's 3 processes from how I look at it. It's the first process in terms of the verification, whether or not you submitted all these documents. It then goes through, that's the second process. They sit, they adjudicate. As Mr. Mutale was indicating, they are adjudicating per clusters, etc., etc. They will be doing fashion and design 1 weekend. When they finish it, they send it back. When they send it back, it comes back to us. We take the 154, and I'm using the specific example because I believe that was the number here. We take that whole lot that comes to them, we publicize it, because that's what the policy says. We publicize the list as recommended by the adjudication panel. Once we actually have publicized, then the third process kicks in that I'm talking about. That is where a project manager or program manager, I think that's what they are called, the program manager, they say it's Touring Ventures. He is now saying Stella Pty Ltd is one of those that have been recommended. He then goes through the particular process. What they would find sometimes, Chair, as an example, is maybe amongst the directors, there's someone who's a government employee. I'm just making that as it's only at that time that that person will then be excluded from the final list. Amongst other things, I'm just making one of the examples around what will then exclude a person even after they've been recommended.
No, in a way you have confirmed that ultimately it is the department that...
Honorable Khabo will definitely give you another
approach.
Let's focus on the administrative criteria. There's an automatic disqualification if certain pointers that's been set out there is not met. And we understand that you say there's no appeals processes for disqualifications. Now, disqualification is one thing. Then surely the pot is only so big or so small. There's not enough funds to give to all applicants. So it doesn't really just mean that those who were unsuccessful were disqualified. It may very well be then that is because of there's not enough funds. Not everybody generally are disqualified. Some are just unsuccessful with the application because of the limited resources. Is that assumption correct?
Again, speaking to that, I think with the, I keep saying, Chair, Honorable Member, with this process of the revised call, it is true, but it's not the disqualification is not, it's more lenient than that one with the automated system. Yes, for instance, if you had not complied and submitted all the documents, even if you were to then go towards appeal, the issue would have been, but you didn't also submit the ordinary documents, so it makes it hard. That's why the first part of it is to check if all the required documents are submitted. But all the people that have submitted all the required documents and were adjudicated by the panel and were not successful at that stage, yes, they can appeal.
All right, so they can appeal. DG?
I wanted to add, yes. There are those that were disqualified, for want of a better word, during the verification process. But we still find some of them appealing. So there are those that are still appealing, not subsequent to the adjudication, but we do have, it's a smaller number, but they do appeal to say, you said I did not submit a tax clearance certificate. I'm just citing that as an example, but I did, you know. So we do have those. And then the bigger chunk would be those that appeal against the decision, because in the letter that is being written to them, it states the reason why the person was not successful or the application was not successful. So I've seen some of the letters that are saying you did not provide a cost breakdown, for instance, and the person then appeals against that decision to actually say, in my application, I actually did submit. Here is proof that I submit. So right now we are sitting with 66, as of yesterday, we're sitting with 66 appeals that cut across the board. But indeed, Chairperson, you do have, as they set through the process of adjudication, the best proposal in terms of how they adjudicate, obviously I'm not in the adjudication, Mr. Mutale can speak more to that. At the end of the day, there would be somebody who has submitted what they deem to be a perfect proposal. But at the end of the day, the amount of allocation in terms of budget is a final determinant as well. So they would take that into account, or we would, maybe I should put it like that. So just went a round way, but I wanted to answer your question in that.
No, thank you for that, DG. Then I want to wrap up, Chairperson. Please balance me and balance me nicely. MGE is unable to provide funding because when they send out this letters of regret, they say we regret to inform MGE is unable to provide funding, and then they cite those reasons as per Section D. Cost per job, work opportunities, you are contravening Section D. Your budget breakdown is not quantified. It doesn't indicate the cost per job or work opportunities. Then they say that is in Section D, Item 2 of your revised guidelines. It says your budget breakdown is not quantified and it does not indicate the cost per job or work opportunities, and therefore we regret to inform you that we are unable to provide funding. And this is why it needs to be balanced. So to an applicant, you regret to inform them about their application for funding because of that. Budget breakdown not quantified, cost per job or work opportunity is not there. But yet, you make allowance for those who got grant approval letters. You give them 21 days to submit compliance documents together with a full budget breakdown on the approved budget that's been handed to them. And this is why I need to be balanced. Because if you decline my application on the basis that I didn't give you budget breakdowns, and you approve somebody else and you give them 21 days to come back and submit compliance documents together with a full budget breakdown, how do you explain that in terms of I am being fair, I am treating everybody the same, but yet I see the contradiction in the two. I'm glad you're raising your hand. I was going to turn to the DG, so the nervousness is gone. That's good. Thank you.
No, the reason I'm raising my hand is that comes around a lot, Honorable Member. And if you look at the guidelines, they're divided into chapters. Each one has a heading. That process is a chapter that tells once a person has been approved. Remember, in the initial stages, people submit their, I always say, their happy request. They request as much as they request, the maximum is 2 million, people will then submit, majority of people for 2 million. When you are adjudicated, you were checked if your budget is broken down. So that step would have been done at that time. But you're requesting for a maximum of 2 million. Then the panel would have looked at your proposal and they would have recommended an amount. So let's say you had asked for 2 million, but you did meet that criteria. Your budget was broken down for you to have gotten the stamp from the panel. That will mean that you had asked for 2 million, but then the panel recommends, looking at the proposal, they perhaps recommend that you get 1.2 million. Then that part that you are talking to, Chair, speak to, you have now been awarded. You had asked for 2 million, you are now being awarded 1.2. Therefore, there is a need to then resubmit if you are accepting the 1.2. And if you are to resubmit, how now you are going to rework what was initially 2 million and rework it to 1.2. In that stage, some people we've seen in the past, other people will say, my idea cannot be done with what you are giving me. So I'm not able to rework it. Because if you look at the nature of most, not all, I must say this, Honorable Member, of cultural and creative industry projects, they're almost like weddings. You can have a wedding for 10,000, you can have a wedding for 100,000 rands. So in this case, what is happening is that they're almost asking you to downscale. So are you able to do that? And then are you able to then resubmit? And this is also standard. If you were to benchmark, by the way, Chairperson, with all grant, you will see that the process of resubmitting to align to what you've been given is there. So the submission you are talking to is a person now submitting in alignment to the grant amount that has been the offer that has been put on the table. Having had met all those criteria now on the amount that you have been given. Because most of the adjudication, like in this case, in this financial year, even though the maximum amount is 2 million, I don't believe there was a person who was awarded a full grant amount. So which means then there will have to be a need for them to then resubmit that. Also the issues of because of the life cycle as well of the application from the staging to the end. A company can be tax compliant now, but by the time they have to redo the document, a lot has happened and they are not. So now they have to submit that. A bank account could have been closed again, which we have seen happen as well. From the time when they submitted to the time when now they have to be going into contracting. Maybe something happened, lack of funds or whatever reason, the bank account is closed. So now they have to resubmit. They submit no, it's not a resubmit, this one, they submit. So if you look at the headings of those guidelines in that chapter, you will say that it does guide and it does talk to that's after you have gone there during the contracting. But it does come out a lot. People thinking that it's a whole new submission.
Thank you so much. Honorable Daniels, you have less than 4 minutes left.
Chairperson, I will gladly sponsor my 4 minutes to somebody else. I want to note, Chairperson, that I've been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the presenters as well as the members of the arts and culture sector, which I enjoy, but I'm not a part of. So thank you for your service. Chair, if I can ask the members of the adjudication panel whether or not, and granted that there are only 2 of them here, if possibly the ones that are not present can provide this response in writing. But can they confirm whether or not any of them hold or have recently held positions in any political party structure?
The panel.
If I may respond to that. Yeah, it is it's no secret that I am a member of a political party. In fact, that is a right enshrined in our constitution. In particular, Section 9 of...
If I may, I just asked the question. I didn't ask for an explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mutale. Honorable Potgieter.
Yes, thank you, Chair. What I would like to get to is I'd like to understand, and perhaps maybe I can explain from my point of view. The Constitution dictates impartiality, transparency, and accountability. It also regulates political appointments in order to uphold these principles. The public service regulations contain conflict of interest protocol with respect to an independent review panel requirements, and we've also got the Public Service Commission, which deals with the Code of Conduct. What I'm trying to understand is whether or not any of the members of the panel are members of political parties and what details, or if they can provide the details of that membership. Thank you.
Yeah, if I may respond to the honourable member, and to be specific, I'm a member of the Patriotic Alliance, and at the same time,
all the honourable members,
I am responsible on a volunteering basis for their public relations. I don't do any paid work for the Patriotic Alliance. Thank you.
Chair, if I may, I'm not sure if the other member is willing to answer, but if we can get written responses from the entire adjudication panel in this respect, which perhaps maybe I must give a chance for the other member online.
Mr. Molefe.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, the honourable member. Yes, I'm an activist in Kagiso, in Gauteng, and I'm the member of the ANC.
Thank you, Chair.
There's another member of the panel.
Chair. Yes, thank you very much, Chair, honourable member. Yes, we are three of the panel present today. So yes, I am also an activist. I'm an artist. Been here for 35 years. So that is my few cents. Thank you.
Honourable Potgieter.
Thanks, Chair. Can I ask then if these political party positions and their role within these organizations was formally declared as a potential conflict of interest when they took positions on the adjudication panel?
Can the honourable member please substantiate what constitutes a conflict of interest then?
When joining a committee or even if it's an HR panel, if there's a potential conflict of interest, it must be declared at the beginning of the meeting. So what I'm asking is, it doesn't say that there is a conflict of interest. It says that there is a potential for a conflict of interest. And by declaring that potential, you then safeguard yourself from any further activities that happen after that. So what I'm asking is whether or not any of the members formally declared a potential conflict of interest due to their membership or active participation in political parties.
I did not declare me myself specifically. I didn't declare any conflict of interest because there was none.
Mr. Molefe.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair. I did not declare, I don't have any conflict of interest because I'm not an active leader of the ANC. I'm participating in the panel as an activist, as a businessman, as also a person who has been involved in the youth development space for many years. And for the record, to the honourable member, when I was the chairperson of the NYDA, I'm the part of the people who were part of the consultation within the sector and the industry on the establishment of the
We are happy with the response, the Honourable Potgieter.
Thank you, Chair. This leads me to my question to the department, and I do stress that potential for a conflict of interest is not a conflict of interest. It must be declared, and I think perhaps maybe that there is a gap in the department with why these things are declared. I've had to do it several times when sitting on HR panels, etc., in municipalities, because there is a potential for conflict. But I'd like to understand from the department, did you conduct any formal conflicts of interest vetting for any of the adjudicators? And if so, can you provide full details and the corresponding forms that relate to this?
No, the answer is no, we didn't.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to understand the criteria for the selection of the current adjudicators, and were there any independent bodies involved in confirming the integrity of the appointments?
And they were handpicked.
TSEC. I think they've indicated they were handpicked.
Okay, handpicked as in the minister selected them?
Yes.
Directly, okay.
The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture respond to that? Rephrase your question, Honourable Member.
So, if I can, Chair, the minister hand selected. There was no criteria for the selection of the for the adjudicators. It was purely done by the minister. Does that make it clear?
Yes, they were handpicked by the and the names were submitted by the minister. But I believe the minister looked, as I said earlier on, looked at the kind of competency that he was looking for, and you can see it in the profile.
But there's no official guideline, policy, or criteria that was utilised to select them.
No, Honourable Member.
All right. Thanks, Chair. I think that concludes that line of questioning. I'd just like to ask, with regards to the disqualification of NPCs, did this happen because they were not registered with the Department of Social Development?
Sorry, was it?
The allegation that NPCs were disqualified because they were not registered with the Department of Social Development, did that happen?
Yes, it happened, ma'am. If you go to the page 8 of the guidelines, when the call was publicized, it says that trust and NPCs must be registered with DSD. So there was that in the guidelines.
And where did that legal requirement come from?
When we did our roadshows and we consulted with DSD, this one, of course, there is an act. It was amendment. And my fellow colleague did quote it correctly. But what happens is that because our sector is a key sector that is also labeled in recommendation 8 of the grey listing, there was a need to also look at the sector and do a risk-based evaluation as well, to have a risk-based approach to it. And in terms of a risk-based to it, inherently, the arts and culture sector cuts across borders and nations. We do know that. So inherently looking at that, this was a risk-based approach, and because with touring ventures is simple because we do support people traveling internationally, so it is applicable. With the CCIP, it's less risk, but because it's an open work stream as well to allow for innovation and creativity, and it's an open category that at times there can be an element of people engaging with their fellow party in other countries or having that element to it. So this was a risk-based approach when it comes to the CCIP.
But can I understand the legality behind it? Because the claim is that they were disqualified on the basis of not being registered with the Department of Social Development, which was not a legal requirement. So what was the basis that the department applied that legal requirement?
Ma'am, there were two because it was in the guideline. The guideline get publicized for everybody to be able to respond to the call, one. But two as well, if I've just explained, looking at the nature of the sector we work in, there was a need when there was an amendment to do a risk-based analysis. Remember, with every department now, they even have a risk unit because with your work, you are entitled to always do a risk analysis.
I hear what you're saying.
So that's where it came from. So that's how I was explaining that it is a risk-based analysis based on our sector, and this was also in partnership with the DSD department.
I hear you.
Yes.
Sorry, Chair, I hear you. But what I'm not understanding, because for me, the law is clear. Policies are clear. I can go and look them up and I understand them and I then go about my business. But if, for example, the bank decides to change criteria and it is not part of legislation or approved processes, how would I know that that has become outside of your guidelines? It's not a legal requirement. So I'm trying to understand. I'm not in the industry. I will never make this application because I'm not at that level. But I want to understand why were they excluded based on a risk analysis that is available where? On a process or policy that is available where? That's what I'm trying to understand.
The risk analysis is based on the Amendment Act, and the recommendation 8.
Just a second. Can I just get order? Can we give the member of parliament to ask the question and let there be quietness? Also, if there's a response and there are people who are not happy with the response, respect the response. Let's do this by respecting also the decorum of this house. Proceed. You may proceed.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think I'm responding to that, ma'am, to say that with the guidelines, first, we know the guidelines are issued with open call, so everybody can know what are the requirements. However, I'm saying that in partnership with DSD, because they are doing roadshows looking into that space following the Amendment Act. And then they came to us because our sector is one of the sectors that has been tabled there by name, cultural activities. So then there is a need to also look at it and do a risk-based analysis, looking at the nature of our work specifically. So as indicated, this is a risk-based approach, so that even when they present the case, I think that the audit will happen again in this September for the grade listing. They are able to not only show, remember with every audit, even our standard audit that comes from a Director General, you must always have a risk-based approach to your work as well. So this is a risk-based approach.
I'm understanding you very clearly. What I'm just trying to get at is that it appears to be unfair if the legal requirement is that only an NPC that does work overseas, if that's the way I understood it, is required to be registered with the department. That you've now done a risk assessment that makes this requirement more stringent even on NPCs that work within the country only. So all I'm saying is perhaps maybe look at the criteria that you've imposed on them, because it is not legally required. The legal requirement is that if you do business outside the country, you have to be registered. But now, based on your assessment or engagement with the Department of Social Development, you've now created this, this risk or criteria that is not part of legislation. That's really what I'm trying to understand. But I do get your explanation. Thanks, Jay. Are you?
No, I think what I wanted to acknowledge what the member is saying, and to say that we will look at that and ensure that in our guidelines we align ourselves to legislation. But it was as indicated, it was just a risk-based approach. But we are willing to look at that and consider that we don't breach the law in whatever we're doing. Thank you.
Your processes should be monitored through an automated system, because that ensures that there's no tampering, that there's no, and I'm trying to understand the decision to go completely from automated to manual, which for me creates a flawed process in itself and brings into question, and my colleague, Honourable Kabo, has highlighted to me the meeting in June, where they've requested forensic investigations into the allocation or selection of beneficiaries. And it seems to me you're going backwards in your selection processes instead of forwards using digital technology, which would also alleviate the concerns from a lot of the applicants to be able to see in real time exactly what was going on. Now it's kind of all happening behind the scenes, the call by the adjudication panel to go manual, because, it doesn't sound good. Whether it is or it isn't is irrelevant. It just, on the face of it, it doesn't sound good. So I would suggest that possibly, and this goes, the same meeting we had yesterday, Chair, was the NFVF. You see, I'm having more. The Film and Video Foundation. The same sort of issues as the transparency and the ability to see in real time what's going on. I pulled off the beneficiaries on the website, and one thing that's very clear is that there's no company registration numbers there. You can't really check them. Some of them, it doesn't appear that they exist because they've got no footprint anywhere. And a number of them, the first two actually that I searched, are in deregistration. So there is definitely an issue with the transparency of the process coming out. For me, that list should include company registration numbers, details of where you can find their companies. If you have the company registration number, you can look up the directors immediately. And I have a free thing to Biz Portal, which is your CIPC. It's very easy to do. But you can't do that because 90% of the people on that list you can't find. And that is not a transparent process. So if you're going to publish with the details so people can see what's going on. But I think, there were a number of things that, Honourable Kabo actually pointed out from the June meeting, Chair, where, forensic investigations were going to be done and documents and etc. were going to be provided. I don't know if that's been provided, but I certainly don't have copies of them in the documents that the Secretary sent us. So if possibly we can go back in time and just, kind of start putting all the pieces together. Otherwise, I feel we're going to have the same meeting in 3 months' time and, be going back in the past. But that's all for me. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah. But I want to invite members. I'm going to give an opportunity to everyone to go through this list, to interrogate this list and ask seeking clarity questions. CPIC, we don't find them. Are they on the list? And there's millions on this list.
Chairperson, I want to start with the issue of the panel. I think here it's only 3 panel members who are present on the hybrid, and others are not present on the hybrid. It's only 2 members who are on the hybrid. I still want to, I don't know whether it's 2 or 3, whatever number that is on the hybrid. I still want to say that we need those panel members physically here. We cannot be told today that they are businessmen and so forth. When they were appointed, they did know that at some stage they will have to come and account to the parliament. And we cannot be given such an excuses, whereas we are sitting here with a complaint or dissatisfaction that we need to resolve as the parliament together with the DSEC. I think for us to have this meeting on the 10th of June, we have this meeting of Mzansi Golden Economy. And I'm not sure if, Chairperson, I went through the minutes as well as the resolution. Number 1, I will start with resolution 1 of that meeting. DSEC was supposed to provide a list of all funded flagship program. The due date was 25 June. I'm not going to go through all the resolution. Number 2, DSEC should provide a forensic report on all NPC that DSEC relies solemnly on government. The same due date was 25 of June. Number 3, DSEC should provide forensic report on individuals and or companies that received funds and how funds were spent. When you go to resolution number 9, independent forensic report on departmental official who benefited directly or indirectly from the MGE. And also the due date was 25th of June. Lastly, government should accelerate implementation of the South African Cultural Observatory SACO review recommendation, particularly regarding the funding this diversification and economy system development. I'm saying that after hearing what I can't remember the name. Leletu has just said. It is painful what Leletu has to go through as an visually impaired someone. We can't be treating our disabled people like that, Chairperson. Again, regarding the issue of the panel, the DG has just confirmed that the panel was handpicked by the minister. And I remember we know as the portfolio that the panel was appointed in December. I was thinking that when said it was appointed, there was all these processes of advert, applying, shortlisting, interviewing, and so forth. It was handpicked. Let us now change it not to appointed. The panel was handpicked in December 2025, Chairperson. Given that the DG has just confirmed that, I just want to raise this question to DG. Did DG advise Minister when Minister was doing this that it's going to have the legal implication on this decision. When he handpicked, the DG advised minister that it's going to have the legal implication, DG.
No, honorable member, because there is no legal implication in this case, because in terms of the policy that dictates the transfers and funding, there is nothing that dictates the format of appointment of the panel members.
You know, Chairperson, I think I will raise this issue that, to me, this panel definitely it needs to be dissolved, or in fact it needs to be dissolved. There is no other term that I can say, because it can be handpicked, Chairperson. Really it can be. Does it represent the interest of the artist? Does it represent the interest of people who are supposed to benefit? Or does it represent certain group of people? I think the same thing that we were asking yesterday on the film, what, NV? Yes, the same thing that we were asked, that the board that has been appointed, does that board have the people who are in that art industry, who can be able to judge based on knowing the industry very well, not bringing me, who has never been in an art industry. And Chair, let me also pass to these applications. The total number of applications, Mr. Zanyane, it's 2,823. And then out of that, only 125 were approved. And then 2,698 were rejected, were failed, whatever. They fall in that category. How possible it is? It's not even half of the applications that were approved. 125 compared to 2,823. It's just not even a drop in an ocean, Chairperson. And on top of that, on this 125, how much has the department spent to fund? And what is the total budget of this MGE? I will just wait there to get the answers.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, on slide number 14, the total approved 152. Yes, if you look at the total number of applications, 152 is really not even 10% of what was approved. That is acknowledged. However, there are certain factors that would make that situation. And the total value of the transfers currently is standing at 24,931,992 because the transfer of funds goes in tranches. So there's two tranches that go. The last tranche goes after the successful meeting of reporting obligation by the applicant or the successful applicant. The total MGE funding allocated amount is 275,928. Not only for open call, it's for everything. Yes, 275,928. But so far the spend, the total spend currently is 24 million. And I think maybe Kia can assist in terms of the reasons of applications.
No, it's fine. The member just want to know how much is spent. As long as it wasn't on buckies and trucks. And, yeah. And there should be.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think, Chairperson, I will be, if Mr. Zanyani can assist us with the list of all beneficiaries, as well as the amount.
Honourable Member, my humble apologies. There is a list. It has been sent.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
the only thing that is outstanding, and I would like the department to respond on your question, is the issue surrounding the submission of the forensic audit. If the department can just respond on that. The list definitely has to be received there.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to check with the department, Chairperson, because yesterday I remember I've raised the issue of where the department did come up with an extension on the appointment of the board. When they found out that only it's how much? I want my numbers. Only that small number, 125 have been approved out of 283. 125 have been approved out of 2,800 and have approved. Okay, it's fine. What did the department do based on that? They've seen it's a huge number of applicants, and then it's a small number of approved beneficiaries. What did they do so that we cannot find ourselves in this situation where it's a certain portion of number that has been approved, but we have a huge number of people who have applied? What did they do? Why did they say that let's go back, let's open this, and then, or else let's check those maybe who are missing one or two documents to say that we are giving you a grace period that within this time you must have brought these documents so that you can be approved. I think I was trying to check my emails, Chair. We have so many complaints of people who I will just check. I'll even submit it late. Of one artist who said to me, I was sent a letter that I've been approved, and then later he received an email again that saying that it was a mistake, you are not being approved. I remember I had that email, and that artist is from Soweto. I'm not staying in Soweto. I don't know that artist. He just got my email or on the department website, and he said to me, I was approved. I said, send me all the documents. At least I can be able to raise issue on the documents that I'm busy reading. I'm approved, and then later disapproved. It was a mistake. I don't understand how does it happen, Mr. Zanyan. Can I have a clarity on that?
Thank you, Chair. Among the list that has been supplied, we indicated earlier on about the issue of when we are doing those quality checks. There are applications which were sent letters that they were funded, but subsequently that was withdrawn because of various reasons. One of them, as mentioned here, is the issue that if a person works for the state or one of the directors in that company is a foreign national. So there are those instances where there were reasons given that why the funding has been withdrawn. On the one that Honourable Member is speaking about, I think we would need to be finished with that because at this stage, we are not aware of that particular dispute. And I think that if we can be finished with it so that at least we are able to look at that concern and the matter. And I think the other comments that the member has raised are noted as concern. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Matsan. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I will submit that email. I'll just go through my email and check it. I just want to check also regarding this, the administration of MGE. Does the DSEC have the capacity to manage the MGE? Why is MGE with so many, or why is it having so many challenges if the DSEC has the capacity to manage it?
DSEC, please respond carefully on that one.
Look, the DG will also help me on this one, and I think capacity is a challenge, not just in terms of competencies, but also in terms of human resources. And as a department, I think that members would be aware that after the merger, the department is still to finalize the issue of the structure of the department, and therefore there is that under allocation of resources in relation to various areas in the department, and MGE is not exempt to that one. And coming to the issue of challenges, Chair, and I think there's no project that would not have challenges, especially when you are dealing with funding issues. We are not saying that it's allowed to have challenges, but we are in the space where we are supplying funding, and obviously there would be that unhappiness which we acknowledge, which may arise from the systems that we may be using, the criteria that we may be using, and also maybe even the time frames that we have to adhere to in providing funding. And I think it stems from that partly, yes, capacity is a challenge, but also that there is a lot of expectation out there in terms of the work that we have to do as a department on funding the beneficiaries. Thank you.
The answer is there is challenges and capacity.
Yes, Chairperson. But on that challenging capacity, when did they realize that they have a challenging capacity, and what is their plan in resolving that challenge? Because the minute that you are aware that you are having a challenge, you need to have a plan B how to resolve that challenge. So can the DSEC tell us what is their plan to resolve that challenge capacity they are having? They cannot come here and say that, yes, we have a challenge. What did they do? Because they know that they are having a challenge.
No, we realized that there is a challenge a few years ago. And I think perhaps those that were there even before me would have realized a process of the development of a revised and realigned organization structure was embarked on, because the structure of the Chief Directorate was not responsive to being able to execute the mandate. I am aware that the minister has approved the revised structure a few weeks ago or a week ago. However, it doesn't mean that the structure can be implemented, because the processes require that the structure then goes to DPSA. But also the filling of those positions would possibly also take time. Now, the structure itself is not going to be a solution to issues of capacity. What we did in the last 2 years, Honorable Member, upon realization of insufficient capacity, we did appoint on contract project coordinators. That's what we refer to. But the project coordinators were more to deal with the tracking of the projects, because that's where we were also having quite a serious problem with the process of coordination and tracking. However, we have also realized that there is over-reliance on CETA in terms of the system utilization is concerned, because when we needed to go back to the system each time, as I had said earlier on, there were several problems because the system has to stay open and active throughout the process of those particular project administration. So we are considering, and I think the colleagues are putting together a document just to engage with the minister with regard to how we can align with the NAC grants management system. However, Chair, it's not a cut and dried solution because we are also aware that NAC is experiencing its own challenges. However, they've got a grant management system, whereas we do not have that kind of a system. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. If you allow me to continue.
Please do.
Yes. I just want to check, has the DSEC considered the recommendations outlined in the South African Cultural Observatory Review, evaluation of the Mzansi Golden Program, Mzansi Golden Economy Program of 2023, regarding the open calls and funding of the CCIs. One of the recommendations referred to target calls to support women, persons with disabilities, rural people, and other unrepresented groups in the cultural and arts sectors. These target calls can provide opportunities in the following ways, Chair. It's only two ways: address funding and support, address historical imbalances and inequalities within the sector. Has the DSEC considered those recommendations of the South African Cultural Observatory Review of 2023?
DSEC?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, I think what we can say is that we are looking at the recommendations. Without being specific, MGE is one of the programs that we are beginning to look at carefully because of the challenges that we are experiencing. And I think DG has mentioned the issue of looking at the issues like the GMS that the NAC has. But we are looking at reviewing how we are going to implement MGE going forward, taking into account the recommendations that SACO has made, because those are the prerogatives that we have to meet. In actual fact, even government requires us to look at that. So we cannot even run away from those recommendations, but it is something that, Honorable Member, we are looking at to ensure that we address these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
You have 7 minutes.
Yes. Chairperson, lastly, I think I'm still going to raise the issue of the panel. We need a follow-up meeting where the panel is present physically here, Chairperson. We cannot be sitting here talking about something and people are busy minding their own business somewhere where they are. I just want to check with the DSEC. Does the panel get paid per sitting or per month, and it's how much?
DSEC?
Chair, can we just check the figures, but it is per sitting.
Yes, it is as per the Treasury regulations for such committees. But I can check them.
Yeah, can you provide that? Because we met with NFVF yesterday. The figures that has been given is far beyond the Treasury regulations. And when you look at Treasury regulations, we look at 5,000 a day, something to that effect, for persons, chairpersons and all of that.
Chair, they are not the same.
I understand, but can we have these ones?
Yes, I think these ones, they are in terms of TR20, if I'm not mistaken. We just want to give you the correct figure, Chair, not to Damsak.
Okay, while they are looking, Honorable Moletsani, while you were speaking about the panel, and I saw Honorable Potgieter wanted to say something about the panel as well, but I'll come back to her. You can proceed, you still have some minutes.
Yes, Chairperson, I want to know how much are we paying this panel? And up to so far, since from the 10th of December, when the 11th of December, when they were handpicked, how many times did that panel sit? And one thing that I've heard when the DSEC was doing the presentation was that for this panel to finish all those applications, it was something like 7 to 8 weeks. And how much did we spend on that 7 to 8 weeks? That has only come up with 152 approvals. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, still looking.
Yes, I have the rate for the chair. We're just looking for the member, but for the rate for a chairperson is 4,446.
Per day, or is it per
sitting?
sitting?
It's per sitting.
That is the regulation of Treasury. I've seen it as a table. Okay, happy?
4,446. And then for the normal member, it's 2,698.
But I think it also said for 5 hours, the regulations, or is it the whole day? 8 hours.
That's the day, yeah.
I just want to know how many meetings did they sit as the panel, and how much in total did we spend on them to get this 152 approved applicants?
And those meetings they attend, they don't want to attend these ones.
Yes, those meetings they attend because it's where they are being paid, which is unfair, Chairperson. And I'm still going to say it. Follow-up meeting with the panel, here physical Chairperson, failing for them to come, they can just send in their resignation letters.
Chair,
proceed.
May I request that we do a consolidation of meetings on this one, so that we can submit to the committee?
Okay, we still have Friday till 3:30. It's not over and above members. I think there's an outcry. They want to know.
Okay.
I think at 3:30, by the latest 3:30, we can get it information.
Chairperson.
We'll just check with the office so that they can send us.
Chairperson, the chair of the board is online. He can just tell us how many meetings did.
Mr. Mutale, I forgot. Mr. Mutale?
Good afternoon again, Chair. The remuneration, I think the department will expatiate on that. We don't meet for a day and go back home. What we did and what the department did was for us to meet for quite a number of days to finish the job. It's not like a board meeting. So we are not having meetings today and then next week. No, that is not how it works. We made it a point that we work on a daily basis.
Point of order. My question is straight and clear. How many times did the board sit? Full stop.
I indicated earlier that we did a 7 to 8 week job.
I can't get that.
Chairperson, we said for 7 to 8 weeks. We are sitting on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis. So it's plus minus 7 weeks that we worked for.
Are you implying 7 weeks times 4,000 a day?
And Chair, maybe whilst you are still wondering, it is not that much. If people maybe have the impression that we went all the way smiling to the bank, it is not like that.
No, Mr. Steve Mutale.
Yes, Chairperson.
Members are dealing here with oversight
Yeah, I
Members
understand.
asking, we interrogate and ask questions on expenditure of taxpayers.
I understand, Chair, and I understand the important role that you play.
Please,
No,
please
yes.
don't take it personal.
Chairperson, you know we've been sitting here listening to Mr. Mutale harassing us since from this morning. And it can't be right for us sitting here as the members of parliament to be harassed by a panel member who was handpicked. It can't be right, Chairperson. And we've been quiet, thinking that at some stage he will realize that he is been harassing us. I think all the members who have passed before me, they've asked questions, and the way he answered the question, you can hear that he is a very angry man. I'm not sure what is the reason for Mr. Mutale to be part of the panel, knowing very well that when we came to raise the issues, he's going to be angry, Chairperson. It can't be right. And I'm still insisting we want Mr. Mutale and the whole board physically here. Thank you, Chair.
Let me do this ruling.
Chairperson.
Let me do this ruling, Mr. Mutale. Before August 3, we will, between yourself as the chairperson of the panel and DSEC, get the amounts of days. We do have it now, more or less, and the amounts been paid to panel members. You have.
Can I say something, Chair, with your permission?
Yes, please do.
I want to say to the honorable member, if I came across as harassing and angry, that was not my intention. I humbly apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Mutale.
Apology accepted.
We are department.
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Kia, who's working with the panel, does have the information, but I think we just request that he's gonna log on to, like right now she's doing that, and I think after lunch then we can be able to have the exact, because the payments are coming from the department. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. If they can be able to submit that, because with this everything is impossible. We are still waiting for the recommendation of the 10th of June to submit information. Even till today, we haven't received anything. That would be my submission. Thank you, Chairperson.
The first thing that I wanted to start with, Chair, is regarding the CETA accreditation that the Motale spoke about, that the artists, when they do an application for performing art, and if they want to do workshops and everything, they need to be CETA accredited. So I want him to tell us why they need to be CETA accredited, because of, with my understanding, when you talk about CETA accreditation, you're talking about something else. So it's not aligned with the MGE. So that's the first one. If you maybe can answer me on that before I proceed.
Response from the department.
Thank you, Honorable Member, and thank you, Chair. The issue of accreditation with CETA, I think the Honorable Member got it wrong. It was raised by my fellow panelist, Mr. Molefe. Maybe he will respond to it. Thank you.
Honorable Matau.
We're waiting for Mr. Molefe to respond.
He did respond.
Okay, since as well Mr. Molefe is not on the thingy. So, again, I think the problem here lies with the minister, because of, it seems like we chose a minister who doesn't understand the creative sector. The minister doesn't understand how the creative sector works. We have different clusters. The only cluster that he knows as a minister is to spin the cars, nothing more. So I wish the minister was here so that he will be able to answer himself, because it seems like everyone that he has chosen, it was like more handpicked. So it raised eyebrows to me to say, all of these guys that were chosen, do they really have an experience in the creative sector? That one is questionable. So we just need to find out if all these guys that are working with the minister, we can start from DSAC, moving to NAC, NFVF, GPF, all of them. Because of all these people, when you look at the cluster that we have, we're talking about theater. When we talk about theater, Mge Theater is dead today. There's nothing creative that is happening there. When we talk about, we used to have a thing called Arts Alive Festivals, which is, it used to round off all these clusters under one roof. The reason why, again, I was asking about the CETA accreditation, because of in the Arts Alive Festivals, you'll get theater practitioners who are specializing in certain departments or in different clusters, who will teach these young ones. If maybe they want to dance, they will teach them how to dance. If it was fine art, they will teach them fine art. If it was this, it was going to be that. Until at the end of the day, at the end of the festival, that's when all the musicians and everyone will come on together and present what they have. DSAC killed that. Then in December, there was a 9 million funding that you guys said they need to be funding for 9 million. People started putting their applications and everything. Then boom, by February, we said no. We downscaled it into 2 million. And we expect people again to go back to the ground and do the budget and do. So do you understand that the artists, or they're fighting for something that they know? You cannot say, here's the budget, an overall budget. Then they submit. Then suddenly you say, no. Let's downscale this budget into 2 million. But you also give them a minimum of time in order for them to submit the proposal again. Why is that? You guys have neglected arts and culture. We have neglected the creative sector. And when we talk about the creative sector, we're talking about a lot of people at stake here. It's not only actors and actresses, it's not only writers. We have poets, we have stand-up comedies. Like, it's a lot. When you approve your budgets, in those 152 people that you have at the present moment, do they fit all those 152 in this cluster? Do you have disabled people there? And all the 52 people, are they across the board of 9 provinces, or you just picked your friends? Because it seems like it's a norm nowadays that all the departments, they will favor their own people first before. As my sister said earlier on, before we went to break, to say, how come in 2,800 people or applications that were sent, you only picked up 152? How much is your budget? That's number one. So if those 152, their applications were on point. Let's say I, as Gifty Mutawong, I sent my application, but my application is good, everything is proper. But the only thing that I did not submit, it was my ID copy was not certified. Do you still reject that, or you need to consider me and say, because of your application is good and we feel that this proposal that you've sent to us is under our mandate, then we can go for it. But the only outstanding document is this one. There was a question again that was posed to you guys to say, when those applications you have approved, you still go back to the people and say, there's certain outstanding documents that are needed. Why don't you do the same thing with all those 2,800 applications to say, guys, this is what you need to do? Or you break them into different sectors to say, okay, you guys are from Mpumalanga, you guys are from Gauteng, you guys are from this and that. This is how we're going to do this. Those in Mpumalanga, this is going to be their share. I believe each and every province has its own budget. Than for us to receive all the 2,800 applications that comes from all South Africa, and yet you approve only 152, which is, I know 90% of them are Gauteng people or Western Cape. And KZN.
Why would you say
We've been through this, I think even yesterday, whereby I believe that there's no transparency here. People that you have employed in our boards and everyone, they don't have any industry expertise. So we need to look at that. I think we need to review their CVs and stuff, because of it seems like we cannot be led by people who doesn't understand the industry. It's better if we put people that understand the industry. If you're dealing with music and you don't know that you need to undergo and make sure, teach your people that they need to register under SAMBO or SAREL. And when they question you, then you say you don't know, go to SAMBO direct, then it's a problem. If you don't understand the language of the creative, then it's a problem. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you, Chair. I think to a direct answer, because I know the honorable members raised questions about the issue of applications. As we have stated before, the applications are adjudicated by the panel. They are not handpicked by the department. And we are not aware of any friends that have been funded through the process. So the process, as stipulated earlier, yes, it does come back to the department for certain things to be checked, and also for the vetting and contracts to be vetted before MOAs can be signed with the successful beneficiaries. So that is why it comes back to the department, that we do acknowledge. But in terms of the applications themselves, I think they go through the process whereby the panel recommends the prospective beneficiaries for funding.
In terms of the December call, Chairperson, I thought we had actually explained that and explained the reason why that call had to be reversed. And the new call, in terms of we then provided minimum time. I do believe that the time was averaged against all the calls, Chairperson, through you. Yes, the December, in fact, it was a November call, was extended, as we said, and we have acknowledged the fact that in terms of how we address the new call with the manual and email, there is improvement there that is required. We've noted the fact that the honourable member says we have neglected the CCI. We do believe that with the programs that we are looking at and we have reported in terms of working with the 17 clusters, we are as indicated in the presentation, have identified the opportunities and how we are dealing with them. The 152 recommended applications, yes, they fit in the 17 clusters. However, maybe let's not put it as fitting in the 17 clusters. Let us say they fit in terms of the CCIP program, because that is how it was actually advertised. We are not aware of any friends, Chairperson, through you, being awarded the open call. At least none of mine were awarded. They did apply, but they were not successful. And I wouldn't call them friends as such. It's people that I know have been in the industry since 2007. But if there are any such allegations around officials, including myself, having picked up friends in the 152, we would appreciate that information and we'll make it available for pursuance. In terms of the provinces, I think also yourself, Chairperson, did ask the question that Honorable Member Mdaung is also asking. I'll just quickly just take the members through in terms of the figures. With the CCIP, it was 5. It appears in the report that we got from the adjudicating panel, it appears as implementing province. That is how I'm reporting here. With the CCIP, it was, sorry, I'm just wanting, it was 7 from Eastern Cape, 8 from Free State, 52 from Gauteng, 11 from KZN, 7 from Limpopo, 4 from Mpumalanga, 8 from Northwest, 4 from Northern Cape, and 14 from Western Cape. With the CCIP. With the touring ventures, it was 2 from Eastern Cape, 1 from Free State, 16 from Gauteng, 3 from KZN, 1 from Limpopo, 1 from Mpumalanga, 2 from Northwest, 0 from Northern Cape, and 1 from Western Cape. That is the breakdown in terms of the 152 open call recipients. I've noted the issue of how much budget. I think it was responded to earlier on. The MGE doesn't come as only open call, etc. It's the entire MGE, which includes a Comtat Center program, includes capacity, the incubator programs, and all the other programs, including SACO. SACO is also paid from the same budget. And the Art Bank is also paid from the same budget, which are the initiatives that come out of the MGE. So the figure that was quoted covers all the MGE funding. It's not just open call. I see my colleagues have just, Masana is here, specifically for the awarded the budget for the awarded, I believe the entire budget came up to about 109, but I stand to be corrected. I'm just referring to the Excel spreadsheet in front of me. That is only for the CCIP project and about 12.5 for the touring ventures in terms of the ones that were granted. Chairperson, to be fair, I would respond to the question regarding anyone who is submitting an application and, for instance, doesn't attach a certified ID just as a response, direct response. So we do not go back, Honorable Member. We do not go back to that person to say, please resubmit or something. But it becomes a reason in terms of you failed to submit all the required, and that's the basis. And it's one of those that do not even go to the adjudication panel, because it will fall out during the verification, because there are 5 requirements in terms of documents, and if any of them is not there, it falls out. It might be wrong or right, but I'm responding to the question in terms of do we go back or not. Yeah, sure, that covers it, please.
Take me also to the human factor when I left out something and there was great potential in that applicant. Is there no human factor to say let me take them along, because I'm concerned with the allegation of we are left to our own devices. And perhaps also just filter the committee in who the responsible DDG was, who had the specific period on the MGE developments and process on the open call. Then there was also concerns mentioned about applications that did not comply. And can you respond to that?
Chair, I wouldn't say the human factor is what is considered, because once you set a criteria and you give it to whoever is making an assessment, you stick to the criteria for fairness. You would not then go, because if then you use the human factor, you may deviate from your criteria, and that itself can be subjected to a challenge from other people. So yeah, I think we'll stick to the criteria more. Thanks.
Okay. You know, it's confusing. No? When people were handing over the applications, somebody was receiving them. So meaning when that person received an application, already that person is checking everything that is needed from the criteria. So meaning if I as Mutaung handed over my application and they checked it and they put it in the box, that means my application was good. So when other people are not, some of them, they get rejection letters, some of them are not getting rejection letters. So in that sense, how do you guys pick that this one is the best proposal ever? That's what I want to know.
In terms of at the pickup points, the drop-off points, when people were dropping off their applications, when there's a lot of people dropping off, it's very difficult for the people that are taking those applications to check and sift each application like that. So they'll record them and put them in the box for checking them later, all of them. So that's what happened.
So that means you guys are failing in that instant. Because of, you cannot say people, they need to come and drop their applications, but then you don't have people who are able to check if whether those applications they stand or not.
That's the human factor I was referring to.
Okay.
The understanding I have, I didn't obviously go to the top of points, Chief Director, and then I see the Deputy Director is outside. The understanding is that at each of the 9 points of where they were dropping off, there were officials there that were receiving. So it wasn't a case of you put in a box, but they were actually receiving. It's not my understanding, Chair, that those officials had a mandate of turning away any of the applications. It's not my understanding. So my understanding is that they would accept them in terms of registering them, but they would then take them as they are. But as I'm saying, I was not at the drop-off, but that's the understanding in terms of how we defined what would happen at the drop-off. The honourable member is saying we would then determine what is the best. That process, as I explained, there are 3 processes. There are 3 stages. By we, I would assume the honourable member is referring to the department. The department is not involved in determining whether or not the president or the proposal is, competitively speaking, the best proposal. That's the responsibility of the adjudicating panel. The responsibility of the department is to do the initial stage of verification and the last stage of compliance check when we receive what has been recommended by the adjudication. Yes, there would be human errors. We cannot say 100% there would not be human errors. in any kind of a transition, there would be human errors. However, that is why we then have to continuously look at how the system can actually be improved.
So here, are we talking about a panel who's not industry expertise?
My understanding is that they have the industry expertise as indicated in the profiles that were in the presentation, Honorable Member.
Okay.
Round up, Honorable Member. You can round up your questions.
Oh. Okay, the last one is, in all the applications that you had till today, obviously that means you have a database of all the applicants who applied for this cluster and not, and those that have failed, who did not receive the rejection letters. Is there any leeway that you can do workshop these guys in a sense of saying, because of we are in a place whereby we said we want to educate. That's one of your other mandates that you have. And arts and culture at the present moment is dead. You can go everywhere, it's dead, it's nowhere. The only thing that is alive is only music festivals. We don't have dance groups anywhere around. We don't have, I think DSEC killed the likes of Dance Umbrella. They killed the likes of Arts Alive International Festivals. They killed fine art. So at the present moment, what is it that you're doing in order to revive these things, except doing road shows? Because of road shows, when they don't put anything for our artists. You can go to Mge Theatre, the precinct is dead. It used to be the hub of creatives. The precinct is dead. There's nothing there. So what's your take in this? How do we revive our artist work? That's what I want to know.
We need a very serious response here, because there were very serious allegations. And words and semantics, you have killed. You have killed. Words and semantics been used, you have killed. How is those people that you have killed benefit from this?
Chair, I'm just trying to think of an answer, because some of the things may be facts and others could be, opinions review. But I think for me, the issue is of going back to the drawing table and collaborate, work together. Because I know there are a lot of initiatives that come up. The department now has started the issue of the sector of the 17.
We don't want you to go back. Tell us whether you have killed.
No, I don't. Personally, Chair, I would not be able to respond to that. Yeah, in terms of killing.
You know what, Chair? Sorry, Pete. Just 10 seconds. There's Mge Theatre. There's Soweto Theatre. I'm only going to calculate those two. I'm not going to calculate Hillbrook Theatre and State Theatre. In these two theatres, Mge Theatre and Soweto Theatre, is there a show as DSEC that you have funded that is running there? Because I fail to understand, why do we have these theatres, and the worst one is the one in Sebokeng. That place now is a not-going area. Instead of reviving that theater, they've built another one in the site, they call it Eldorado Theater. And even that Eldorado Theater, there's nothing happening there. So Well, that's why how are you guys going to revive arts and culture in the township from the grassroots? How are you going to revive it?
It is therefore important that you elaborate on the concerns of the member. Tell us about the status and speak to around what the member is saying so that we can also have an understanding of the challenges within the theatre, and that is what has been mentioned. DG?
No, thanks, Tim. It's a bit difficult to respond to something that I deem as perception, Chair. Now, I'm not sure whether the expectation is to take the member through all the programs that we are doing. We can do that. We've got quite a number of programs that we are doing. Now, the honourable member is specifically mentioning market theatre, and I'll talk to market theatre and state theatre because those are the two that are entities that are owned by the department.
Are noted.
The initiatives that are actually being done by the department are through those particular theatres. We do not have a show, honourable member, that we as a department, we commission for it to be run in any of our entities, because the entities are the ones that are tasked with the responsibility of executing theatre development. For instance, the examples that you are citing. Now, the viewpoint that is raised by the honourable member is that we have killed the theatres, we have killed the arts and culture space. I'm sure, honourable member, a different audience that we could actually engage with will give you a completely different picture. And I can take you through the programs, Chair, depending on the time that you have. We have on our programs that we are doing for just this year. If I can take you through the ones that we are doing for just this year.
DJ, I hear your counter argument. I'm going to make a note here that those programs be sent. Instead of taking us through that, then we can share it with the necessary role players. If that is fine with you, DG. I'm just scared that we are running out of time. I see Mr. Malefe on the hybrid also would like to sanitize us whether he was part and parcel of those killed, those theatres. Mr. Malefe?
Thank you, Chair. I will not want to respond to the killing because the killing will be a problem. What I wanted to speak to the Chair is the issue that relates to what the MGE department will have done in terms of workshops that were given to possible applicants of the MGE grant, and that was engaged, and many participants did participate in the process of understanding the guidelines that the department have created. So that process have helped us, but also I think the issue that relates to provinces, we had the situation as a panel where you have Honorable Mudise or Honorable Member of the applicants in the creative industry. His company is using the Gauteng address, but his work that they have applied for, it will be in Mpumalanga. So when the system comes, it will be saying we have a Gauteng application. When you go to the detail or the content of the proposal, the activity is in Mpumalanga or it's in Eastern Cape, but the address of the company or the address of the applicant it's using the Gauteng based on, we will all know that the migration might be the impact in terms of opportunities that are there. So I think that those are the areas that we need to look at. But equally on this issue that panel members are not experienced, Honorable Chair, while we respect honorable members of our portfolio, I think it's very key to note that we are also South Africans. We are also involved in participating in different sectors in the society. On our own, we have participated in the different sectors, because no one have a right to say this one is part of is an approved creative industry specialist. This one is not, because we are all creative in different areas in terms of our culture or in different expertise that we have. I will not understand if we have David Kau, who is a well-known comedian, who is also a graduate in the industry, that we will be able to say he is not. The chair of the board himself is a writer, which relates to the book writing, which is also other participants. Myself, I'm a youth development practitioner with many years of experience, and I've participated in empowering many young people in the sector. I've been involved with many artists or many creative industry in the sector for many years. And I'm sure Honorable Mteto will also know that many years ago we used to work together on some youth programs in the province in Gauteng with many other colleagues in this sector. So many of us on our own rights, we are activists who are in the sector, and we have passion. And I would say, Chair, one of the key things that I wanted to also clarify, and the DG explained it very well, we were the first one to pick up that we can't have few beneficiaries participating in the process based on the allocated budget that they've told us that was allocated from Treasury. Therefore, we are the ones that wrote a letter through the chair to say, can we request that this thing be looked at, and can we relax so that many beneficiaries are able to be integrated?
Mr. Molefe,
thank you.
I respect your view. And let me say to you, I start my meeting to say I even respect Mr. Steve Mutala. I know him for many years. He was the one who reported when I was a soccer player in my 20s. We are complaining about the process. We don't have problems with the individuals. The process, how? You will see what it will unfold later in this particular. I will go and ruffle stuff out where some of you members on that panel have made allocations to organizations in places where they are residing. Don't let us go into this detail. We talk about the process, and we talk about decisions. We'll go there.
I would want to concur with the members who are constantly saying the department seems not to understand the sector it is serving. It is very clear. From the presentation, it shows that you don't have plans because it's a crisis management approach. Oh, this has happened. Oh, sorry, this must happen. Oh, no, we didn't know. The department has been there for over 30 years now. You can't be still grappling with the issues of how you deal, how you communicate with the sector. Having said that, Madam Deputy Director, responsible, what qualifications did you have to produce in order to get the position that you are in?
I think in the advert I needed to be a graduate, of which I am. I'm a Wits University drama graduate. I needed to have experience in the arts, of which I did because I was in local government for 10 years working in the same sector. Yes, I think coming into a deputy director level, those were the key ones.
Have you participated? Do you have apparent experience of being an artist or actor or something?
From day one, Chair, I was in the behind the scene. My ambition back in the day was to be a film writer and director. And before joining the city of Tshwane, I was in the sector. Actually, my first job was back in the day with the live shows of Your TV. So I did work in the sector before joining city of Tshwane.
Okay, but you seem to be lacking the understanding of the sector that you serve in. Because even the DG shows in her face when you are responding to questions that you seem not to be understanding even the questions that are asked. You are not answering them according to, in view of you having participated in the sector, you seem not to be understanding. You seem to be very lost and more of an administrator than anything. But be that as it may, I want to ask Unat, what qualifications do you have? Just qualifications, nothing much.
Sorry, I have a master's of law in entertainment law.
Okay, and you are also
an orchestral conductor, pianist, and a cellist. Thank you.
Ms. Mngoma, what qualifications do you have?
BA drama at UCT, and I went on to do my honors, went on to study in Italy, France, and I have senior certificates and diplomas in the arts. So I did about 9 qualifications.
Thanks. Lele, what is your qualification?
I have an LLB degree, and I'm a self-trained poet.
Okay. Mr. Mulif, what qualification do you have? Mr. Mulefe, from the panel, what qualifications do you have? Unmute, Mr. Mulefe. Mr. Mulefe.
Yes, Honorable Member.
What qualifications do you have?
I do have different certification in different sectors.
What qualifications do you have?
Youth development practitioner.
Is that a qualification? Is that an academic qualification?
When I was appointed, I was not asked about being an academic.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that you were supposed to have a qualification. I want to take you through the understanding of the sector that you are dealing with.
No.
No, I want to take, please relax. You spoke about CETA qualifications. First and foremost, your presentation contradicts even what the DG is saying. The DG says the responsibility of the panel is to go through the project plans, not verification of anything. So I would wonder, how did you find out whether certain individuals had CETA qualifications, certifications, or not?
Will I respond?
Yes, you can respond.
Okay, no, Honorable Member, we didn't, all what I was explaining, we didn't do a vetting of whether someone have a CETA qualification. All what we stood to was to say the guidelines says there must not be any training or workshops. And the background of that decision is because in the past, there were approvals that were done of giving people workshop and training funding when those people were not literally CETA accredited institutions and they were not able to have the capacity to train. So generally, what I was responding to.
No, thank you. Thank you for that answer. I think I'm satisfied with the answer. So I want to find out whether are you now changing your statement that there was no reason for anyone to be vetted there was no vetting for anyone, whether they are CETA certified or not. So whatever statement that you made earlier on, it is no longer the statement you are making now.
No, you see the problem, what I'm raising, Honorable Member. Maybe I might not be understanding your question or your input, or you might not be understanding my input.
Let me clarify why the Honorable Member asked that question. He's asking a direct question to ascertain the experience and expertise which is crucial for us for this discussion. That is the reason why the member asked the question. As I have earlier referred to, we are concerned about processes.
Yes. The Honorable Chair, what I'm explaining to the member, to the Honorable Member, is that the guideline says no training, no workshop. So our task was to go through what is written in the content of the proposal. If it says we are going to do training or we are going to do workshop, we will not be able to. It means if we approve it, it's outside the guideline. But if we don't, and the base, and when we had to go, or when we had to get clarity on the guidelines that we received, the issue was that the department was that its view was that training and workshop must be done with relevant institutions, and the department have its own different program that deals with training and workshops. Ours is to make sure that we focus a lot on job creation opportunities, because this program falls under the jobs program of the government. So
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I rest my case on that one, because even when the issue of accreditation, SETA accreditation, was asked by another member, your chairperson referred the responsibility to respond to that question to you, because he heard that you are the one who raised the issue of accreditation. But suddenly you seem to have developed amnesia on what you said. You raised the issue of accreditation based on the fact that some members were disqualified because their projects could not be funded because they did not have SETA accreditation. That was the context. But it's okay. It's okay. We can't debate it. I'm not inviting a debate. I said it's okay. It's okay. We're passing. Tell me. I just want to show you that the lack of understanding of the sector that you are dealing with, the people that you are dealing with, it's very important to know who you're dealing with, so that you are able to address the services that you provide. If you don't understand the people and the audience of the target market that you're dealing with, you will not provide proper services. One, I don't know what the qualifications one would require to hold a workshop, first and foremost. I really don't know what accreditation you would require to hold a workshop. Workshops are part of the ecosystem that helps people to develop further so that they can then get jobs with the knowledge that they have accumulated. So you are talking about jobs, and MGE was never a job creation allocation. The duplication that you are actually engaged in, or maybe let me deal with the issue of qualifications. I wonder, what qualifications do you think Stimela, Lucky Dube, Lady Smith had? What qualifications did Gibson Kenter had? He produced Mbongeni Gema, one of the best. So if these workshops are not funded, how would people like Gibson Kenter could have produced the Mbongeni? You don't understand the sector that you're dealing with.
Honorable Penny Pay is also an example.
Yes.
And he's successful.
Yes, exactly. Dr. Joseph Shabalala was a professor and lecturing at the University of California in Berkeley. It is called Berkeley, the university. Lecturing with no formal education. The problem of our government and what the process is that you always want these academic qualifications that don't make any sense because you don't have the apparent experience. I'm just passing with that one. You have MGE, which is now said to be job creation. You have NEF, venture capital. This is the same department. We're still waiting for the report on what did you do with the 50 million that you gave to NEF for youth development. I still want to see youth companies that have not flourished from that 50 million. Still waiting for that. You have IDC, Social Employment Fund. You have NAC, Social Employment Fund. You have PESP. These are for jobs. But people don't have jobs. People don't have jobs. So it is not surprising that when you talk of the open call, you have 152. How much budget did you have for the open call? Just the open call. so that we can be able to divide it into 152 and see how many people benefit. How much do they get?
109.
For the open call, not the MGE, because you are hiding behind the overall budget of the for the open call, and 152 people got funded. I think we need a forensic on that one. I think so, Chair. I'm not going to ask further questions on that one. That one just calls for a forensic. You have Living Legends program. Another one that is lost because you don't understand the people that you're working with. You adapted this direct from the United States without any adaptation, without understanding the material conditions of our people in the country, not taking into cognizance the poverty, everything that says people will not reach to 70. Not many would reach to 70. Ray Peer, when he died, he was 71. He was 70 actually. He had just reached 70. So he couldn't contribute on the. So there's this notion that we want to do, but we don't want. We want to do, we just want to tick the boxes. Okay. Again, on the issue of not understanding the people you are dealing with, you do this open call, and part of the application, one must give a project plan. Okay? On this date, this is what's going to be happening. On this date, this is what. What you don't understand is that if I'm doing a performance event, I must book artists, pay deposit to secure that date. Where do the people get the money whilst you're dilly-dallying and going and changing dates and going back and doing this? This is the challenges that she was talking about, that you did not, in your report, it doesn't highlight those things, that there are people who have booked venues, who might book venues, book service providers with their own money. When you ultimately fund them, they've lost the deposits that they didn't have because now they had to change dates, and some service providers don't give them back the money. Artists will hold the deposit. If you come at 11th hour and say, I'm canceling, I'm changing the date, the money is gone. And when you give the funding, you want to dictate how much you want to give. Who informs you that instead of 2 million is 1.2? You speak with so much smile about that. When you are earning the problem is that once you are dilly-dallying and doing all these things, you are earning your salary. Your salary doesn't get also adjusted according to the work that you are doing. When you change dates, then you must earn at the end of that delivery. You don't have those challenges. Now, Deputy Minister, Chair, we are in an era which I term postmodern cultural colonization. We have moved from political exclusion into systemic exclusion. That's why I was giving that background. And systemic exclusion is defined as repeated, structured process by which specific groups are denied access to resources, opportunities, or participation due to embedded policies, practices, and societal structures. Rather than isolated incidents of individual prejudice, it can be pervasive, and often unintentional, affecting areas like education, employment, and access to social benefits, leading to persistent disparities. You are not closing the gap, you are increasing the gap. You are not addressing the imbalances, you are increasing the imbalances. I'm defining now, you have killed the sector. Yes. You say people must submit physically. Eastern Cape has got distances between the towns. Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth to East London, it's about 230 kilometers to 250. East London to Mthatha, from Mthatha to East London is about 228 to 235 k's. Makhanda to East London is about roughly 163 to 180 kilometers. Which one? Do I buy data that I cannot afford, or do I walk 160 kilometers to go and submit? Systemic exclusion. We know that many people have no access to internet. So even when you open digitally, you are not making much effort to do things. There are schools, there are post offices that belong to government where you could say submit to the post office. Schools under Department of Education, they can be used as a point of contact. But you are so lazy, you are sitting in the post offices and just instructing and instructing and instructing, coming here with sanitized reports. That time is over. That time is over. DG, I want to repeat it again. Lying to Parliament is a statutory offense. Chair, we need to now follow up these statutory offenses and start opening cases against people. We need to start now following up. I'm tired of us sitting and coming up with the report and recommendations that are not carried out. DG, I've asked you a number of times here, saying the cluster meetings, that was not the sector attending. How can you make sure that everybody represented in those clusters were from the sectors? Today we are told that that meeting was an ambush of members who were just randomly invited and then declared as the industry. I've been in this industry for long enough to know that the department doesn't have a database that represents everybody. It was during the apartheid era when we had a diary, a directory that had everybody in terms of who is, what skills are. Now you might even end up with people who are not even from those clusters who are saying we are leading these clusters. You have organizations today that are sitting here who are participating in that. What are you doing? I told you I want you against it. I want the minister against it. It's a fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Because these clusters, you are now erasing, you are actually duplicating what CIFSA was supposed to do that it failed to do. Organizing sectors and subsectors. And you have already issued a budget. If I don't know whether you have already even given the clusters the budget. Very quick at things that don't make sense, that we did not approve, even us as a committee. We never discussed those issues. We never discussed. You lied again as the department that you have released all the funding. All the costs have been, the funding has been distributed. NAC only did one call, which is not yet even evaluated, and the outcomes are still coming on the 1st of October. But yet you said these have already happened. Presidential employment stimulus package, not yet announced. NLC 3-year annual call, not announced. NFVF, never announced. PSP call will only be coming in September. What is it that you are reporting to us with these AKPs, that the picture that you are painting that is so beautiful? What is it? Let me come to the questions in terms of this report.
You have 3 minutes on the
presentation. You said you released, and I want to show you how you prioritize international things more than the locals. You say in this revised 2025 open call, All CCIP applicants were advised to reapply based on the revised criteria. However, Touring Ventures results were announced to accommodate those who had already secured international platforms. International platforms, that's what you prioritized. Let me come to Mr. Simon Molefe. Mr. Molefe. Mr. Molefe, did you say that there are no people that were funded who are friends? I want to find out from you, Mr. Molefe, did you sit and preside or rather adjudicate on an application by a friend from your own area and from your own branch of the ANC?
I don't have a friend who's an artist. I have people different in my own area, in the region, in the province who have applied.
And did you declare your relationship with them?
When we start in the panel, every time we're given forms, if you have a friend or a relative that you have applied, then I don't think so that I have a friend or a relative who's closer to me.
The question is, did you declare?
I don't have a friend.
Do you know Mr. Thobela Dlamini? How do you know him?
Mr. Thobela Dlamini has been in the industry for many years. Like I've known you, you've been in the industry for many years. So I've known him for many years, and that's how we know each other. And he's not my friend.
If I were to propose that or request that a Section 205 be done on both your cell phones, I wouldn't find any communication between you, a friendly communication between you and Thobela Dlamini.
You can request.
No, I'm asking a question. Please, I need you to confirm that we will not find anything between you, meaning that Thobela Dlamini, you don't know him as a friend, nor as a comrade. Mr. Mkhunu's issue.
No, I know him as a comrade. Is it not 7? I mean, not 8. We don't stay in the same branch.
But still, you adjudicated on his application.
Like I would have done to any other person that I know.
And you didn't declare?
They are not my friend. The process says, because if I have to declare that I know somebody, it means everybody that I know I must not participate in.
I'm specific about Thobela Dlamini. I didn't say how many other people. I'm saying Thobela Dlamini applied, and you are the one who adjudicated on his personal application. Without you saying, recusing yourself from the process to say, no, this one I can't because I know him, which is a decent thing that you could have done.
He's not my friend.
He's your comrade.
We are in the ANC together. I'm sure you were also my comrade before.
No, I'm asking about Thobela, not me. I haven't done any application.
Also referring the truth to you, because how do you think that people can be in the same organization, don't know each other? I mean, to be honest, honorable members, we need to be fair to ourselves. I have a constitutional right to participate, to be a member. I have a constitutional right to be given a task by this country. And all I have to do,
you have a constitutional right to recuse yourself or excuse yourself from when you see an application from somebody that you know that close as a comrade. You have a responsibility, constitutional responsibility.
It's not close to me. It's not close to me. Somebody who's close to you. It's somebody that you go as friends, you go as your families meet together, you do this together. He's in the taxi industry. He's doing different things. He's in another
You
ward.
know him very well. If you know that he's also in the tax industry, it means that you know him. But no further questions, Mr.
Like I know you. You are in.
No further questions, Mr.
You are a former.
Thanks, Chair. I'm going to rely on your magnanimous nature in the fact that I did not use all my time and ask for a clarity-seeking question, if you don't mind.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Chair, I'm just going to go back to the board again, and I'm going to do what my colleagues have done and remind the panel, with regards to, being honest with questions from members of parliament. I did ask earlier whether or not they had in the past, or if they currently held any political party positions. And from that line of questioning, we established that the chairperson, Mr. Steve Matale, was the spokesperson for the Patriotic Alliance. And if I'm not mistaken, he is also a member of their National Executive Committee, which was not announced. Mr. Simon Malloy then also confirmed that he is an activist for the ANC, although he doesn't hold any formal positions there. I would like to ask Mr. Vernon Grachom, I think is the correct pronunciation. He stated that he is an activist. What he did not state is that he is also a former Patriotic Alliance councillor in Saldanha Bay. I would like confirmation as to whether or not that is accurate.
Mr. Grachom. Mr. Grachom, please unmute.
Hello, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I was struggling. Yeah, I was a councillor for the Patriotic Alliance. Yes. Honourable member, that is.
Thank you. If I understand correctly, and in his absentia is Mr. Francisco Tiada is also not a social activist, a political activist, who is also an active member of the Patriotic Alliance. The list that we have, Chair, is probably the most condensed, simplified list of adjudicators' profiles that I've seen. I mean, if you go onto the NFVF, for example, it gives a long list of qualifications of the board members. I mean, here we've got the fact that, we've got a seasoned communicator, a specialized business manager. It's not indicative of what their actual portfolio or positions are, where they come from. I think the only one that I could actually find or verify was Mr. David Cow, who actually is a renowned comedian. The rest are kind of given in some sort of, sort of hidden underneath different words, but essentially what they are people who hold political positions. And for me, that is a serious potential conflict of interest. It should have been declared.
Proceed, Honourable Potgieter. I haven't recognized anyone else.
Thank you so much. It should have been declared, and not for the fact that it was a conflict of interest, that it had a perception of a potential for conflict of interest. The second issue is that there was apparently no criteria for which the minister was given to appoint this panel. I did ask right at the beginning of the session, and now it's been advised that the department did advise the minister of criteria to select adjudicators. So either there was no criteria or there was criteria, but it doesn't appear to be clear. Now, the point I'm getting to is that the recommendations to broaden the scope and access and to reopen this entire process into the MGE was made on the basis of recommendations from the adjudication panel, who in my opinion are politically compromised. The fact that they did not declare it beforehand, the fact that there was no vetting done on it, the fact that they have tried to hide it through the questioning in the beginning of the session is all suspicious. The fact that they are members of political parties is neither here nor there. We all vote. We all vote for some party or another. But the fact that there was an intentional, or an intention to try and hide it with, profiles that don't give you the full details, and omissions when the question was asked directly are for me problematic. And I think the minister needs to account and to advise on what exactly the criteria was, because either there was none or there was some, and to the reasons behind the fact that people with current active political careers are sitting adjudicating on public funds that are being given to members within this particular sector. Because for me, there is a conflict of
life of an artist. Bacho spices are glorifying drugs as a stage fright cure. You can try this just when you're about to grab your chance of staging. Excitement, you can't think out this industry, or should I say this killer dream, cause you will swear that from the start it was designed to kill artists. Bangakulwela when days are bright, ungutembekile. As a human being on Instagram, too much pressure, unrealistic expectations. Whoever said that he's the perfect lizulahlekisile is with us, wetembekile. Singiza wetembekile. Remedies within us as ikhwemba sibebekile.